I'd been working for quite a while and over time just getting more unfit because it's hard to get time to be fit. I suddenly realised, to my surprise, I was obese. And then some personal stuff happened in life, as it does, and it got me to a turning point of, okay, I've got to do something. I got on the treadmill to run. I was too embarrassed to run outside. Thought I looked pretty stupid, a fat girl running. My little brother in Queensland told me about parkrun. I almost felt like I was partly going so I could tell him that I went and tell him I didn't like it. But when I went, it was just so nice and it didn't feel awkward at all. For all the parkruns I've ever been to since, which is quite a lot, I found that at every single parkrun I've been to. No judgment. After I've completed a parkrun, I feel energised and invigorated and it helps me get through the week. My name's Dr. Jennie Wright. I'm a GP. I've been a GP for 23 years in Adelaide in South Australia. It occurred to me that if it's helpful for an introvert, overweight person like myself, that I've got a lot of patients the same and it would probably help them too. And I'm very motivated as a GP to help my patients to have happier and better lives.
Hi, my name's Kate and I felt unfit, just didn't feel like I was finding the time to fit exercise into my life. I was also a bit concerned about approaching middle age, reading lots about women, hormones, calcium and all of this kind of stuff. I would talk to Jennie about all of these kind of things and she encouraged me and she said, well, why don't you just come to parkrun one day?
My name's Steve.
My name's Tamara.
I was in Queensland, country Queensland, unwell. Doctor at the closest hospital recommended I come back to Adelaide, and Dr. Wright had organised me to see some specialists, a cardiologist. Within days of arriving back, I was in the hospital having a pacemaker inserted. I remember going to Jennie's clinic. I think she was surprised at how small my world had become. And she asked me what I was doing for exercise. And I said, well, I can't do anything. And she said, no, wrong. She handed me a prescription. And I thought it was some medicine. Well, I thought it was not unusual to get a prescription. And parkrun was just a name. I thought it was a company name for some drugs. But it was 5 doses of parkrun. Dr. Jennie then said, look, you're never going to come last. You can go at your own speed. You can walk. There's lots of people. There's no pressure.
I guess I was a bit worried that it was going to be a whole heap of really fit people who were kind of there in their lycra and their sort of... But it wasn't like that at all. There's just a lot of normal people.
In general practice, we see patients with a lot of different problems, but chronic health conditions are such a big part, and also depression and anxiety is such a big part of what we see. Having exercise and getting outdoors is such an important part of reducing the burden of chronic disease. And I see that social prescribing for parkrun is an inroad into helping people to change their lives in that positive way. For people who are a bit nervous about doing something or don't want to make a commitment or have busy lives, it's fantastic.
I find now that if I can't do parkrun, I will actually somehow try and fit in a 5k run or a really long hike or something else during my week to make up for it. And that's the big change.
Patients with disabilities are encouraged. The parkrun environment is inclusive.
My name is George and my main condition is familial spastic paraparesis, which is a hereditary condition that causes a stiffness in my legs, sometimes in arms as well, but for me it's just legs. And I've watched Jennie start parkrun and enjoy parkrun, and one day she just said, well, why don't you give it a try? Even if you're slow, it doesn't matter because the tail walkers will walk with you.
At the first event, I felt quite safe, and to me that was important. The first one went very quickly.
It was a nice community afterwards, having coffee with people at the end. Jennie introduced us to everybody, so there was that community spirit at the end, which was really lovely as well.
Oh, it was lovely. Yeah, we couldn't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
The volunteers that wave to you when you have to do a turnaround or an encouragement when you cross the line. Say, well done. That made me feel like I was part of something.
That gave us confidence.
It did.
Yeah, just a little stepping stone.
And then we started walking together. We'd walk to the shops, and I would carry things around in the shops. And I started, well, actually I can do some of this stuff. I'm very unfit, but I can do some of these things. And so it grew from there.
There's a huge amount of evidence that people's social connections make a difference to their disease burden and their longevity, as well as their quality of life. We can prescribe pills, which can be very helpful, but actually doing things to improve people's social connections is extremely powerful and helpful. And if it includes exercise as well, that's even better. Parkrun is special because it seems to generate a community of no judgment and a feeling of friendliness. There's coffee afterwards. It just has a good community spirit and feel about it.
I had to go on to medication and various other things for depression. I've just found that through more exercise and meeting people, I've been able to wean myself off those drugs, and I'm very much self-managed. Getting out and talking to people and doing things is very important.
I start my day feeling different. I don't start work feeling tired. You know, if you run 5Ks, you should be exhausted. But actually it does lead to, okay, so what am I going to do next?
So the transformation from seeing Dr. Jennie Wright to now is a different person altogether.
And it does mean that you get out and about, you're amongst other people. It's something to look forward to. That's not a huge commitment. There's always somebody there now that I can sit with and have a chat.
Prescribing a parkrun is so important, and it's something that we would never have realised had Dr. Jennie Wright not prescribed it for Steve, and it just made such a difference to our lives. It's just changed Steve's life.